that we're going to build from many frames and combine them together into one composition. We're going to work on this bottle of cognac, and we also have quite a lot of other stuff over here. I'm just going to zoom out a bit. I've already done some exports of flowers and different elements which we're going to use in our image. For example, we also have some stars anise. I'm going to move them over here. We also have some of these spices just stacked up. And yes, we also have flowers from different angles, which we're going to basically mask out and then use around the bottle in different kind of bunches to give the image a bit of a more interesting look. So this is how we are going to do the tutorial. It's going to be basically split into two parts. The first part is going to be the more basic stuff which we do in many other workshops as well, so it's going to be quite a lot of masking the objects out and cleaning some of the imperfections. I'm going to leave everything in, but I'm going to skip a lot of that because I mean by that I'm not going to explain as in detail as I would something else, because we're going to have a lot of work in compositing the shot and doing all the post-production work to kind of match everything to the final image and do grading and color adjustment. So I'm going to spend more time there, and the whole first part is just going to be me masking out and retouching imperfections. You're going to see it, but there's going to be a little commentary on that. Alright, so we got that out of the way. And we're going to consolidate everything to tabs, and I'm just going to start masking out things, and then once we're done with that, we're going to start working on the actual image and building the whole thing. So enjoy the tutorial and let's have fun right together. Okay, so here I wanted to just time-lapse the masking of the elements which we're going to use for the composite photo, and I'm going to point some things out here. In a moment, when I have masked this flower, we will see that I actually tried to using different method for masking these objects, but I feel like pen tool is always the best. See here, I tried, but the thing is that it never picks up all the colors correctly without interfering with the background. So please use pen tool if you just can, because it will give you the best masking results. And another thing which I wanted to say during the speed up is that you can see me masking sharp edges on the blurred areas, but that doesn't really matter because this will be such a small element of the composite image that it doesn't really matter if it's blurry or not. If you can see some of the dark or brown edges later, we can just mask them out or paint them from the inside. I will show that technique as well in this workshop, but just later on. So here I'm just still masking with the pen tool, and we're going to continue once I'm done. Hello everyone and welcome to part 2 of our workshop. We're done now with the masking and we're going to move into our next section where I'm going to explain what we're going to do with the flowers and what we're going to do with star anise, with the bottle, and also I'm going to explain how I do the background. But I'm going to explain it just what steps I did already because I forgot to record this, so I have to just go through it and explain, so I apologize for that. If you want to see how I've made these backgrounds before, you can see it in the previous workshop, so you won't miss anything. It's just going to be a little bit different. Alright, so let's jump in. Here we already have our kind of done background for the bottle, which was made from reference. I wanted to have the hotspot behind a bit brighter to bring attention to the bottle, but otherwise it's quite simple, some gradients. So now we're going to go step by step what exactly I did. So at the bottom I have just a basic color fill, which I picked from here with the eyedropper tool. So just a plain solid color. On top of the solid color, I created a first curve with an ellipse mask in form of vignette. So that's that. Here's the mask, and here's the mask without feather. So it's just a round mask, where I put the feather around 750. So that creates our first vignetting. After that we get to the main spotlight behind the bottle, which is slightly larger and a bit more round. Same thing, it's just a curve adjustment, which I've pulled quite high to get this lighter color behind. And I've also feathered it out. Then I did a second pass on that, which is also a bright curve adjustment with a smaller spotlight, even more behind the bottle, so we kind of get this graduation from really bright to really dark to the edges. Then what I did here is I grouped both of the spotlights to kind of cut off some of the bottom part. I did it just with this kind of mask. So here we just have a rectangle and just fix this to the left. And then I did some feathering on it. There we go. So after that I created one more adjustment layer above the group, which is another curve which I pulled up a bit. This has this kind of ellipse sideways mask, which I've feathered to around 480 to brighten up some of the area over here. And then I created one more a bit darker vignette around the edges, so we get this even more focused look on the bottle. And lastly I did a clean layer and I made even hotter spotlight on overlay with just a white soft brush like this. I can demonstrate, so it doesn't take much time. So I just did this and then I put it on overlay, so that creates this one more spotlight behind. After that you group everything and then you turn the image mode to 16-bit. Then you duplicate your background group like this. After you've duplicated it, you just merge it. And after you've done merging, you can go back to 8-bit. So that's how you get rid of most of the banding, and after that, to get even more rid of it, you can apply some grain to the background so you get this really smooth transition. And yes, that's basically it. For some reason my Photoshop is giving me error sounds, so I'm sorry about that if you can hear that. Okay, so that's it for the background. It's quite simple. You can turn this grain is made also exactly the same way as in previous workshops, but I can demonstrate it later once I get to it. Now we're going to focus more on the bottle. Alright, so let's see what we're going to do with it. We're going to take and repair this part. That's our very important task. Let's put some smooth so I can. Then we're going to fix some of this area of the neck. We're going to see what we can do about that. We're going to fix some of the, actually maybe not that, let's see. Those spots we're going to remove. We're cleaning all the dirt and dust. Let's see what we can do with these parts. Also clean the bottom. And let's see if we need that as well. We're going to do some dodge and burning for the dark spots. We're going to create a highlight in the middle, and we're also going to create a shadow beneath the bottle, and after that we're going to make it reflect. So that's our agenda for the bottle. That's quite a lot of work already, but we're going to get through it. And after that we're going to get into compositing the flowers. So let's move in that direction and start by cleaning the bottle. I'm just going to create my cloning and dodge and burn layers and clip them to the bottle by pressing Ctrl-Alt-G. So basically I'm going to start by cleaning the bottle first, and after that we're going to move into dodge and burn, and I'm going to explain how I do that. So over here, not dodge and burning, cleaning the bottle is actually a quite straightforward thing to do. It's just I always tend to use either healing brush or spot healing brush. Right now when I'm cleaning small particles, I like to use spot healing brush, as it's going to do a really good job at analyzing the area around the brush, and I don't feel that I need to always sample a new place, so it's quite easy for me and it's doing most of the work. And I always keep it at hardness 100% to avoid really messy look, and to avoid blurriness as well. So always keep it at 100. So now I'm just going to clean some of the bottle, and if I encounter something that I feel like I am going to explain, I'm going to stop the fast forward and I'm going to explain it to you guys. So see you soon. So here you can see another speed up process of the clone stamp section. I'm just cleaning all the dirt spots. Yeah, this also has many techniques. You can do it with either dust and scratches, or as I like to do it with the healing brush, because it gives you much more control over what you're clone stamping. Please keep in mind at this point that I'm not going to clean this bottle the way I would if I would work on really commercial image, because this is just a workshop. So I'm going to do all the biggest flaws, and then I'm just going to leave it as it is, as it's not too important to at this point have it cleaned extremely well, because you just get the point of what kind of techniques I use here and what tools. So that I think is the more important thing here, to kind of see just what things I notice and in what order and in what way I clean them, because there is some places where I use heel brush and where I use spot heel brush, like here right now, and then sometimes I have to use clone stamp because sometimes the healing brush just doesn't analyze the surroundings really well. So that's that, and we'll move into the next section in just a bit. So, okay, now we're going to move into fixing the label. I'm just going to quickly do a mask. Actually, I don't have to do much. I only have to do this curved part. We're going to do a mask of this cork piece a bit over the bottom black part under here. Is it okay? Then make selection, press OK, and after that we're going to make a new layer with that mask applied. Still click to the bottom, then control click the mask of the bottom, control shift I to inverse the selection of the bottom, and then with the black color in the background, press control X to extract the rest of the from the right and the left. Okay, now what we want to do is to recreate basically this pattern. The first thing we want to do is basically we want to analyze. Okay, what do we have? We have black, we have kind of dark gray, then we have a gradient from here to here, which goes from like maybe 40% gray to 10%. So we're just going to start by taking this black color. We're going to paint in some of that, like this. It doesn't matter that it's a bit sharp with the edge. It doesn't really matter. We can go a bit further just to make sure. Then we're going to actually increase the feather by a couple pixels, so it's not so sharp. Okay, so now we have this. Now what we want to do is we can maybe start by creating that gradient. It only has a bit of feather on the edges, so that's our, like this bluish gray part, whatever. I'm going to follow it down a bit, you'll see later why. Then I'm going to pick this color. I'm going to increase the feather a bit. I'm going to go like this. Same over here. Actually that kind of failed a bit. Like this. It doesn't matter that it doesn't hit the spot yet. Then we're going to pick this color maybe. Select our brush, make this really feathered mask. It still is a bit sharp, but that's okay. We're going to paint a bit over here. Then we're going to pick the black color and have a bigger brush, and we're going to brush in some of that gradient. Like that. And I'm open up the mask from the bottom just a tiny bit. And this to kind of blend those two together. Too much. Not too much, not too little. Just enough. Blend them in. I want to still paint some of that darker gray with low opacity. Maybe some white with low opacity. Yeah. And we still have that kind of brighter area over here, which we're missing. So I'm just going to increase the brightness a bit like that. And it's also not so kind of perfect, but that's fine. And I'm going to pick the black color again. And as we can see here, we have this black edge, so I'm going to paint that in as well with this broken steel one. It's supposed to be the kind of ambient occlusion at the top. So there we have that. I'm still not happy enough with this rating. That's the only one I have to get done better. Just like this. Yeah, I think we're starting to get there. And one thing which you've probably already noticed, what we're missing is the grain. So we're going to create a solid color with brightness of 50%, so that's 50% gray, and we're going to apply the same mask on that, and we're going to, oh, we're actually still missing this part. Let's do that as well. We can't forget that. So same as on the other side, just the kind of brush of the same size. Just start painting in the color. This is actually quite easy because we only have this white. And then we have just a really faint gray like that. And I'm going to do the ambient occlusion pass at the top as well. There we have our fixed cap over there. Then I'm going to now do the gray. We're going to make a noise layer. We want to kind of match it to the top layer, that's fine. And then we're just going to do a really slight caution there. 0.2 might be it. And we're going to turn that into. So now we have some of that similar grain on the label or fixed part as well. And I would also maybe just fade this over here as well. Some of the sharp edges, we still have some over there. Not too much, we don't want to see all the dirty stuff. Yeah, I think this is starting to look fine. We're still going to have another grain layer on top, which is going to be quite a bit, not that hard, but maybe 50% of that. So it's still going to blend everything nicely together. So that's for the cap. I want to fix this bottom part of it as well, because as you can see some of the label behind. So I'm going to do quite the same thing, not really, but I'm going to do it like this, actually a bit lower. I'm going to cheat a bit. I'm going to do a mask like this, make a selection, and create a new layer with the mask on it, on top of the grain layer at the moment. And I'm going to do this. Just going to pick a stamp tool, not healing brush, but stamp tool. And then I'm just going to try and see if I can just stamp this towards the bottom without messing things up. So we just want to get this really clean edge. I don't really like the droplets too much. Don't care about those a lot. So we want to just get rid of those. That just always remember, if you're stamping, you have to follow kind of the natural direction of all the lines and everything else on the bottle, so you can't just go all over the place. So here you can see me resampling always the spot where I'm cleaning that, and already looking much better. And fix one more thing up there. There we go. So now we have this really clean layer. You can see what we've done with the bottle so far. So we've stamped some of the areas on the bottle. We've also fixed the label top, and we also fixed the label at the bottom. So this is starting to look fine to me already. I'm going to feather this out a bit so it's not too sharp. Yes, this is starting to look fine. I still see some green there. I'm going to create a new layer with clone. To fix some of that as well. Those are just some small things. And I'm going to fix some of my own mistakes which I've drawn, which is funny always. Okay, so that's it over there. I'm also going to create a mask over here. I really want to get rid of those colors. There's some color cast over there, so I'm going to pick some greens and magentas with hue saturation channel layer. Let's see if I can get rid of those without actually getting rid of let's actually do it this way. I'm going to delete the hue saturation layer, and I'm going to make it completely desaturated, invert the mask, and I'm just going to paint open the areas which I want to desaturate with a brush. So I'm going to go over here. There. So over here we encounter a problem that overly desaturated colors look a bit dull. So we're going to make a new layer, and I'm just going to pick that color of the bottle, paint over those areas with this. Then I'm going to turn this into a color mode. So that way we can fix some of the problems over here. Whenever I think that this would have been better if the bottle would have been shot without but you can never get everything perfect, so you kind of have to work with whatever you have. So I'm going to fix some of the methods as well. Here. And let's see if we can fix some of them over here. Doing this really roughly. Always remember that it only depends how much time you need to spend on that cleaning part. So this is getting somewhere close to what we can work with. I think it's starting to look quite good. We're going to do some dodge and burning on this part, as I previously mentioned. Otherwise, it's looking quite nice. So here we have the original photo and the retouched version. Okay, remember to always save. This one, I'm going to save name. So once I've saved the project file, I can jump into Dodge and Burn. So basically this is just an empty layer as many of the previous ones, but the thing is that it's on soft light mode, so I'm going to pick just a soft brush, put it on black and white, so black and white, and I'm going to put the opacity to 20% and turn on the pressure sensitivity. Here you only have to be aware of what settings you have on your bottom. So while you're working, you kind of have to go and see what fits you better. But this 20% with the pressure on, I think this works for me just fine. And I'm going to make a hue saturation layer and turn the brightness down. So this way, actually, we can see really well places which we maybe should clean up or dodge and burn away. So I'm just going to clone some of them out. So for example, I don't really like this bottom part. Over here we have some scratches, so let's get rid of those. So the bottom, and also keep an eye on that you don't get any fringing from the healing brush tool. Black and white layer is always a good way to check if you still have places to clone stamp out or improve. This also fill up here. We should put those. Some dust over there. I won't be cleaning the left side completely, this one, because as I said previously, we're going to focus more on compositing, but I would like to, this is just for the sake of the tutorial, so it doesn't end up being too long, but please, if you just have the passion and courage, please do your best at what you can make out of an image. So if it takes you long to clean, just take your time and make the image perfect. I feel like at the end it's really rewarding, but I'm just trying to save some time on the tutorial side, so you won't get bored from watching me clean some of these boring parts. Even though if I sped this up, I always have something to tell or teach, so yeah, I don't know. It really depends on what people want. Alright, so let's move into dodge and burn. I'm just going to speed up this process. It's quite easy, but actually no, let's see. I'm going to explain some basics. So for example, over here we have these light stripes. Still going to need my saturation layer on color. And I'm going to hop back on the dodge and burn layer. And I'm just going to start painting black over those bright areas to cover them up a bit. This is really fine, just fine adjustments, so don't press too hard. You always have to be really careful to not over dodge and burn, I guess. So just slight fixes. And now you can see that we've already gotten rid of some of them, but this requires a lot of time, so I'm just going to do that and speed up the process and get rid of some of those areas, and I will get back to you after. So to save some time, I actually think that we should maybe do this another way. We're going to do frequency separation on the bottle. I feel like that's going to be the best way, so we're going to create a group and name it bottle. Duplicate it, merge it. And actually let's create a solid white color below the bottle and merge it with that and duplicate one more. So let's name this lower one blur and this top one TX or high frequency. And we're going to use a Gaussian blur on the bottom part until we kind of get these blurred details, and then we're going to select the high layer and go to image, apply image. We're going to select the blur layer, select subtract and have a scale at 2 and offset at 128. Press OK and turn this to linear light. So that is a basic frequency separation, and after that we're going to group these two together and duplicate the mask on top. So that is our frequency separation layer. Don't bother around the edges, we're just going to use the inside part. So what we want to do now is we want to duplicate the blur part, the blur layer, and we're going to apply surface blur on top of it to get rid of some of the areas over there. It doesn't matter then that the text is getting all blurry, because we're not going to use that part. I'm just going to blur this out to get rid of the biggest imperfections. Okay, then I'm going to make a mask for the top layer, invert that, then pick a brush with 100% opacity with a pressure sensitivity turned on, and then just start masking out areas where I don't want the stripes and everything else to be, so we can get rid of most of the imperfections, just like that. We still need to dodge and burn these big parts, but the thing is that we kind of it's much easier to dodge and burn big parts than a lot of small. That would have taken quite a lot of time, so I thought that teaching some frequency separation to you guys and afterwards just doing dodge and burn on the huge parts would be a lot easier. So just go around like this. Right now we can see the difference is already huge, and this is what the mask looks like. So just go around and take your time, mask out all the areas that you need. And after that we're going to create a new layer and put it to soft light. And then we want to dodge and burn some of the dark parts. So we're going to make another hue saturation layer. Turn that down. Put the brush to 20%. And then just dodge and burn the dark parts over here. So when dodge and burning, I like to keep my photos either on solar curve or black and white, just to see the difference of the values better. As in this bottle we can see that sometimes you can't see all the flaws without the black and white. And feel free to add more contrast if you can still make out the dark than light spots. That will help you tremendously. Okay, so I think we have the bottle at the stage that we can move on. I am going to create a drop shadow from the bottle, but first I'm going to paint in a bit on our frequency separation layer, because we can see the light white edges, but I want to get rid of them. So I'm just going to select the mask for frequency separation layer and just paint in. It's that simple. Just the edges so we don't have any white bleed over there. This is funny, I've been thinking this whole time while I am doing this workshop that basically retouching is just this huge puzzle which you have to constantly be building as you work. For example, right now I see that we still have this really harsh highlight over here, so maybe we should fix that. It's constantly finding things to improve, and it's never going to be perfect on the first time, so just take your time and have fun with it and work on that image as much as you like, and experiment and try new techniques. It's not about one correct way to do it, so that's why I never say that I am perfect either. There's always we can always learn new things, and I think that's really important. Okay, so let's group all of those layers and put them into a subfolder called Photo, and we're going to create a new layer under that and call that Shadow. So I made this just use the circle brush, and I'm going to flatten it. And then I'm just going to tap this bottom part with black once, lower the size a bit, tap it on the left side, or on the right, sorry, and on the left. Once more. Too much. Yeah, just go around and just tap it a little bit. And after that I'm going to create one more soft brush to kind of get even this bit darker shadow. Right now we can see that it's going way too much over the edges, so I'm just going to use an eraser and remove the pressure sensitivity and just brush away the excess. So this way we get this kind of ambient occlusion shadow at the bottom, which is really important. And Then we want to create a duplicate of the bottle layer. We're actually going to also go into the bottle layer and add some feather to the mask. That's really important. So I'm going to add some feather there, and then just duplicate the whole bottle layer, merge it, then put it under the shadow, move it down, transform with vertical, and then just drop it down a bit above the, not like this, but a bit kind of inside the bottle, because we can't see the bottom as it's under the bottle. So we're going to fake this reflection like this, and I'm going to create a mask and rename this as a reflection, and then I'm going to mask with the gradient just upwards like that. This way we get already quite nice reflection. And you can, for example, try to maybe blur it a bit. Sorry, I was blurring the gradient tool. Gaussian blur. Just a tiny bit. I wouldn't blur it too much, but a little bit. And we can also lower the opacity if we want. But I think 100 is actually really good, and we're also going to see what it looks like with some grain applied. Good to me. And one thing which we want to do as well is to get some of the shadow to the bottle as well. So I'm going to at this point I'm kind of confident how the bottle looks, so I'm going to merge the whole bottle. I don't recommend this. If you can handle all the kind of open layers, but at this point I think that it's safe to merge, so we can merge the image, create a new layer with it, name it AO for ambient occlusion, and we're going to just add a little bit of black at the bottom, like this, to kind of blend it in so it doesn't look like it's floating. And like this. This seems to be fine. So right now we've gone from this to making a new background and cleaning some parts and fixing I feel like now we can also add some glow to the bottle. Let's add some glow. Like that. And maybe another glow with an invert. So we're going to darken the bottle actually. And blur it out. Let's see if we can add even more glow with some white in the middle, kind of up here maybe. Let's see how it looks. That's a bit overkill maybe. Let's see how it looks on soft light. It doesn't look bad on soft light. I mean, it makes the liquid a bit yellow. Let's put this soft light on 60%, and then we're going to duplicate it, and actually no, let's make a new layer, and I'm going to make this a bit smaller, and I'm going to put this on overlay. Now it's a bit too overexposed, so let's move it down and let's put it to 50%. So So this way we get quite a nice glow in the bottle. Then I'm going to also add some contrast and put this on luminosity. So again, we went from this to this. And I also want to make the label over here a bit brighter. So just a quick mask and a curve with a feather on it. Quite easy. Got some bit more detail out of it. Let's see that nothing burns out. No, really crisp, really good text. Still kind of needs a bit more there, so let's do that. Like this. There we go. So now we fixed that part. So it's going to fix that a bit. Yes. Alright, so now we've got that. We can also just, if we want, we can continue making adjustments to the bottle. We can make it even darker and then just mask out some light. This to make it even more dramatic at the bottom. It's only a matter of, again, grading is subjective, so please kind of find your own way and see what fits you the best. I feel like right now this works quite well for us. So we're going to stick with this and we're going to save this. Save this right now. And next up we are going to move into our next part, which is the compositing. So let's see what this is, our before and after so far. We're going to turn on our plants and our star anise and another plant and one more. So these are our pieces. Right now what we need to do is first off make this black and white. Whenever we're retouching a composite image, we want to make sure that our values are correct. So right now we can see that over here we have darker flowers than, for example, this one. These are also darker than this one. These are way too dark, and that as well. So we're going to pick this as reference flower, this one, and then we're going to adjust the values to match this flower. So we won't be focusing on the kind of this color grading just yet. We're first going to fix the values and then we're going to move on to the shading and grading. So let's start by, for example, seeing what this is. Okay, this is our reference. Let's name this reference. These are already masked plants, so they have masks applied inside them. So I've done the compositing just by masking out all the flowers and then sticking them however I like. There is no really right way to do this. You can do whatever composition you feel like and then just start. I'm going to explain how to kind of mimic some light and we'll go from there. So let's start with this one. I'm going to add a curve the hue saturation off, you can see that we still have different color, but it's still much closer by the brightness. That is good. Going back into black and white. We're going to pick this blend. And a curve adjustment. This doesn't need too much, just a little bit. I think this top one needs even more. Then we're going to have this another one. I'm going to mask some of it out. Actually, let's see. This should be, I think this should be behind the, yes, this should be definitely behind the bottle. So we're going to just pick our bottle and make a selection out of it by clicking Control and clicking the bottle layer. And I'm going to actually paint away some of the flowers so it appears to be behind the bottle. Then we have second flower in front. And we're going to adjust the one in the back to make it a bit brighter. Always remember to clip your adjustment layers to the correct layer below. And then we're going to jump onto this flower. I think it's that one, yes. I'm going to do the same thing. Add some brightness to it. See how it looks. Yes, these two are quite close to each other, I think. And we're going to, we can actually, these two are kind of the same value. We're going to copy this layer and we're going to paste it above the next block and click it there as well. So right now we have kind of the correct values on all of the flowers. So once we have that, we want to decide which color we like more. Is it the yellow or is it the kind of this rosé pink color? The star anise is already quite well lit, so I'm not going to touch that. We're going to start doing the colors on this plant first. So let's start from that. I'm going to add a selected color. I'm going to pick yellows. And then I'm going to see, okay, I need some magenta. It's straight away something I can see that I need. I see that I need maybe some yellow, less cyan. Let's see what the blacks do. Maybe somewhere around here. That is already like really close. Maybe a bit more yellow. We won't worry about these because we can also always mask that color adjustment out, and we are going to because we want to keep the green color on the stems and the flowers which haven't opened yet. So I'm just using hard mask at the edges, and then you can just go nuts with this and just paint the adjustment out like this. There we go. So now we still still have the green color remaining there. I feel like there are also some which we want to keep green, yes. So now we have the colors kind of closer to the reference flower, and we're going to just see if we can add some contrast to the flowers to make them look a bit more detailed. And we're going to put this on the Then over here we want to mask out the green parts. So I'm going to delete the mask on this one. And actually we have to be careful to not leave stuff like that. So we're going to mask those out as well. Really soon I'm going to disable one. Let's see where we have the green. So I'm going to mask out some of the green. You can even have a soft brush to kind of not worry about the color leaking too much if you have to change the colors a lot. To kind of keep you're still keeping the adjustment on the flowers, and if it's a bit of soft leak, it doesn't really show up this far. Okay, so now we have masked out that. Let's see, so again, I think I'm going to do the last flower. We'll disable the front one. And over here we actually won't see the part which I'm going to uncover now. What's this? Still going to do it for the sake of and we can actually mask some of this out and see how much does it show up. Alright, yeah, that's fine. So then we want to fix that part. So let's select have the bottle mask somewhere. No. Okay, let's select the bottle, and I'm going to mask this part better, like this. So basically, why I'm not doing it the way that I could just put the layer behind the bottle is because this flower is in front of the bottle, so we have to have part behind, part in front. It's a bit difficult, but I gotta just live with that and do it this difficult way. Alright, so right now we have the flowers kind of graded with the colors, and we also have the bottle ready and the star anise. So our next job is to our next job is going to be to start making some shadows and matching them to the bottle, kind of making it part of the image. Let's fix that. One more thing. Let's see if we can. Yes, I pressed Control Shift D to reselect my last selection. I'm just going to paint out that part. The flower appears to be behind the bottle. Okay. At this point I'm going to save. There we go. And now we are going to get into our next thing. Let's see, where should we start? Okay, maybe we should. I'm going to start by making some fake reflections over here as well. So let's choose this plant, and I'm going to duplicate that and merge it, put it below, and make it and then we want to put it below and transform with vertical, and I'm going to put it kind of like this, because this is going to be a completely fake reflection. So I'm going to use some Gaussian blur in it, as we used on the bottom as well. I'm going to make a mask, use a gradient tool to mask some of the flower out. We actually don't want to mask it too much because we want to still retain the flower in front of the bottle, so we don't see much of that. And after that we want to create a shadow for the flower the same way we did for the bottle. This. Just a small shadow over there. That. Turn the opacity down a bit. And maybe paint away some of the shadow over there. We don't have too much of it. And then I want to kind of lower the opacity of that a tiny bit. Or to not see the bottle, we could actually adjustment, click it to the reflection over here. Darken it. I think that kind of works. So that is basically how you create a fake reflection if you don't have the real reflection available. With flowers, it's really difficult to create the correct one, but with that you can already work with something like this. I'm still not happy how it fades over here, so I'm going to fade just the right side a bit. Maybe put some back over there. I think something like that works just fine. So now we're going to do the same thing for the star anise, and we're going to also do the same thing for this last flower. So let's move into the flower first, because I think it's a bit more difficult. So again, select both layers, duplicate, merge, put below, rename reflection, transform, do it vertical, pull this down maybe around here. We can't really put it like this because it's going to look really weird. So I'm just going to do something like this instead, and we're going to create another gradient. Make it like this. Maybe even like something like that would work just fine. To have it kind of completely under the flower. It's completely fine, I think. This is really artistic photo, so it's only a matter of fact what things look good and what things don't. Okay, so same thing with the star anise. We're actually going to let's add some of that blur as well. There we go. And then we're going to also create a slight shadow under the flower. Shadows make quite a huge difference because they kind of add a bit of depth to the image. Like that. Then the star anise. See the star anise over duplicate, transform with vertical, and I'm going to put it under the star anise. I'm going to mask out that part which is sticking kind of through the star. And here we could transform it and distort it a bit to kind of get a more natural angle, because I think this is one of those cases where it kind of works. And then we're going to use some gradient to again mask out the excess. I'm going to again create a new layer above that, make that flat brush, create some shadow under the star anise, like this, with the pressure enabled, and do some harder shadows here and there, so it looks like it's actually, so it's on some sort of a surface. Now when I look at the image, I think that we could add some even more shadow in front of the bottle. I'm just going to make this quite big shadow. Like this. And I'm going to just lower the opacity and transform it way inwards. So now we get a bit darker on the front, which I think it looks really good. So now we are kind of done with the reflections. Let's add some blur to the star anise reflection. This, and we're going to add the same Gaussian blur as what we added for everything else. So right now we're done with the reflections, and we can move on to the flowers on top. So let's see what we have over here. I kind of have to, let's regroup and do some grouping in the layers. So let's see. This is probably the top plant. Yes. Okay. Let's name it top plant. Left plant front. Thought that was part of the bottle. Okay. So right now I'm going to make these blue so I don't lose them. In the master we also have some plants. I'm going to regroup them. This one. Let's make star anise as well. It's on group star anise. Reference plant. Now we want to move on to doing some shadows around the whole composition. Move on to our next step, which is doing the shadows. I'm going to start by bottom plant. This. And this is actually good that we did the reflections by themselves, because right now these are really versatile and we can move them around. So that is really, really good. That is really amazing. Here we have the bottle. I'm going to make this blue and put this actually above. We have bottle, we have shadows. The reflection of the bottle. We also have, this is the right front. So right now it looks more like a file, which I like to work. So now we can finally get into doing some shadows. So again, let's start from the top. I'm going to start by doing some ambient occlusion on the back of the top part. So I need to get one more layer over there. And do some fine brushing, not too much, just a little bit. This over here we have some issues over there, so let's fix those while we're here. Like that. And don't mind, I have some sharp edges over here, but it's just because I haven't applied any blur, but I'm going to show soon what that is all about. So now we have some shadow over there. I would add also some darkness like this, and then just paint out the area on the right like this to give it some depth, like it's really going back there. So we have some shadow over there. Then we are going to add some. Let's move into the left one. I'm actually feeling that I want to make the plant in the back a bit darker. Do that kind of curve and put it on the rusty and see what it looks like. Doesn't really look right. Okay, let's make it this way. I'm going to create a new layer, and let's see if I'm just going to paint it black. And then just lower the opacity of the black layer. Yes, that kind of works, but it still doesn't. Let's open up a bit. Yes, there we go. So now we have the black kind of on the bottom part of the back plant. So it blends a bit better into the background. And right now we are going to move into the left plant in the front. I'm going to let's add a brightness contrast layer. Let's with that. This might work just as well. We want to, let's try to put it, no, it has to be at the bottom. So we're going to paint some black on this mask. Like this. Some of the dark parts over there. Then I would add some of the on the plant on the back. some black over. No, that's in front. Okay. We're going to do the same thing we did on that side, but on this side this time. There we go. Just going to brush out some of the brightness contrast from there. So again, we're quite far already with our picture, I think, which is really nice. Starting to get there. Yes, then for this we don't have to do much adjustment. On this plant I would do a cast shadow from the bottle. Select that bottom plant. There. Maybe let's make as this is really close to the bottle, I'm going to pick a more kind of orange color. I think that's a bit too much. Still a bit too much. Yes, now we're talking. So there is our shadow for the bottle. We could actually lower the opacity just a tiny bit, like that. And I think on star anise we could do some darkening at the bottom. So let's go in there and add a brightness contrast layer. Flip it to the star anise and brush out some of it at the top. Let's see if we can hold the brightness. I want to also add some highlight on top. Like this, and then just paint away from there. Too much. Breaking up with the blend if is quite easy. So if you have an adjustment and you want to kind of lower only the blacks, just double click the curves layer and then pull this slider inward for underlying layer, and it's going to have this cool effect that it's going to affect more of the highlights than the shadows. So right now I did that for the curves just like this. It made that really nice look. So then we want to move on. Let's see, we're going to move on to doing some shadows on the bottom. So we want to do a new layer, clip it to our bottle, and do shadow. And let's try to do it with brightness contrast. There is so many ways to do shadows, but I feel like yes, the brightness contrast is going to be perfect for this. So I'm going to start kind of painting these flower shapes kind of where the shadows would be. Like this. Here the same thing. We imagine the light is coming kind of from the top, also for the star anise. We're going to add kind of cast shadow from that. And then the figure over there. So then we're going to invert that part of the mask and then invert again. And then we're going to feather out the shadows and see what we have. Okay, so right now I'm going to turn it to luminosity, and obviously it's a bit too harsh, I think, right now, so I'm going to make these a bit softer. So right now we have this kind of ambient occlusion from the flowers, and then I'm going to paint some more with the brush. I'm going to turn off my browser. Okay, so then I'm just going to start painting kind of these darker corners with a black brush. Like this. And here you just have to be really careful to not overpaint the shadows, because otherwise it's going to be a bit too dark. And that's something we also don't want. But just so kind of we get that the flowers are kind of close to the bottle. So this is starting to look really good already. Kind of getting there. Let's see again. Back to the original. We're really far away already. Okay, so right now I feel like the flowers are kind of still really flat, even though we have some shadows in the bottle and everything. I still think that we need to grade the flowers a bit more. So let's select the left front plant. I'm going to see what I can do with that. We're going to clip a new curves adjustment there, and let's see if we adjust the blending, we can get some interesting light on the plant. I think it's better if we try to do it the opposite way. So let's make a curve upwards and then reduce the shadows. This way we kind of get this light effect where we add some light to the middle parts and some highlights. And let's see if we can add some more of this orange color to the flowers. Yes, adding some orange to shadows actually helps blend the flowers a bit into the image. So maybe that on color would be really good. And we could do some blue on the midtones. That doesn't do much difference, but I'll leave that there. So then we want to trying to kind of see what else we need to do here. Let's save at this point. So right now we have this composition already, but we still want to kind of grade this image a bit more. So I'm going to try some of my kind of things that I like to do. So for example, we could use a solid color. Maybe this time and put it on soft light and put it on maybe 30%. This is a bit too much, maybe 15 would be enough. This kind of blends everything together, I think. So we kind of get the same color seen everywhere. could do another vignette, kind of this bit tighter one. This. Oops. Come on. There we go. Sorry about that. Do a tighter vignette on the image. Like this. We could add some blue to the midtones and some red to the highlights, and turn this to color, and I think even more blue to some shadows. It's a bit too blue, so let's turn this to 50%. Right now we're kind of starting to get too much color fringe, so always if you do some sort of curves like this, turn the mode to luminosity so it doesn't affect the colors. And maybe I want to adjust some of the green color. I think we can use the orange. I'm going to go into select and color range. I'm going to pick the kind of a greenish color. Let's see, black matte. Yes, I feel like that's something I want to select. And then I'm going to let's try to do it with color balance. Maybe even colder blue kind of shade would work here. Yeah, I think that actually looks pretty cool. And I would maybe want to desaturate those a bit. Not too much, but just a tiny bit. This into a master group and duplicate it. And then we want to merge this together. And let's make a high pass. Let's go with 3 pixels. Disable our grade for now. Then we want to desaturate this master copy layer by pressing Ctrl Shift U. So now it's desaturated, and let's turn it to overlay. Okay, so we can delete that. Now we have some of the some additional sharpness to the image and kind of blends everything together. We can even add a second pass if we want. Let's see if we lower that vignette as well to 50%. So that's what you get. And I'm also going to now convert this to 16, and then after converting it, I'm going to go back, merge it, and then go back to edit. So the same process we did with the background. Okay, so right here we have our converted image into 16-bit and then back to 8-bit. So right now you can see that the gradients are very, very smooth with the applied grain, which we created with a noise adjustment layer on 50% gray, and then we blurred it a bit. So this way we get this kind of structure on the gradient, and the grain is on 50% on overlay on top of everything. So we're going to keep that there, and I'm going to show a couple other things. We're going to go into our source folder, and we're going to pick, I actually have it in exports, so this one. So we're going to pick that. I'm going to show one more way of adding things to your image. So we're going to add this. We're just starting and masking out. I'm going to mask this out and give back to you in a second. Alright, so this is somewhat what we need from the mask. So I'm going to mask that out, and I'm going to drag and drop this whole image into our master file. Below, actually let's do it above the grade for now. We're going to take this and transform it down so it's more kind of appropriate size compared to everything else. We could, for example, replace the star anise with these, but I'm going to show you just how to use. If you have an image which already has reflections, you could do it this way. So just place it exactly below the masked out image. Then we want to create a mask for that, invert it, and we're going to mask out the reflection, the smoothing, like this. So there we have the reflection, and after that we're going to turn it to screen and see how that looks. Okay, then we're going to click Control L for levels, and I'm just going to adjust the blacks a bit so they fit a bit more, like this, and maybe bring the midtones back. And then I'm going to press Control U to bring up the hue saturation and just desaturate them a bit. Not too much, but just so they're not too saturated. And this way we get exact correct reflections which are shot in camera. And then we can apply the same Gaussian blur which we did for the previous ones. Apparently I did something else after that, so I didn't remember the settings. But just a slight Gaussian blur is actually really nice, I think, for an image kind of like this. And afterwards we can just use a gradient tool to kind of fade the reflection a bit from the mask. And this way we get our cinnamon sticks. We can use some feather on the cinnamon sticks itself, and to kind of match it more to the star anise, we can darken them a bit with a luminosity mode, so we don't get this too. We actually still getting color shift, so we probably need to add a hue saturation layer. Yes, that's kind of what I was after. And after that we're going to add one more curve to also want a bit of a shadow over this object. So this oval shaped brush, which we've done already a couple times, and we're going to disable that and just paint some shadows below. Let's bring back some of the saturation to more match it to the star anise, and I want to go and add some darkness to it as well, and then mask out some of it from the top. So something like that, and this way we get one more layer which we can later position however we like. It's actually a bit yellow. This way we can just we can convert. No, actually yes, maybe. Yes, I think this way we can now convert it to smart object. Let's see how that goes. Basically, what I would do at this point is convert this whole thing to smart object, and then go into the smart object and crop it there. Yes, the only problem is that we can't convert it because we have the reflection over there, which is on a screen mode. So that's a bit of a problem. So we have to leave the reflection out and then convert the sticks into smart object. Then we can link these together, and then we can just adjust anything we want over here, and then go back to our main project, so we don't have like millions of layers hanging around here. But for now I'll leave the cinnamon sticks out because I think the photo is getting a bit too crowded. And I'm going to show one more thing. I noticed that over here we still have kind of this black line going on, so I am going to show you how to get rid of that. We are going to select the plant layer, like this. Right now we're on the right plant. We don't have to mind about the high pass because we can also always redo it. It's quite easy to do, so that's no big deal. We're going to go into the plant smart object where I have all the plants masked out, and I think I have flipped it, so that's the edge I was talking about. So right now I'm going to make a solid color below the plant to actually kind of see where we have all these edges, and we're going to add a slight feather to the whole mask, just to kind of soften the really hard edges. And over here we have two options. You can either, I'm going to duplicate it to kind of see the different results afterwards. I'm going to take a really soft brush and then just brush in these places where I have the dark edges. This is kind of the slower I get. I mean, all of the ways are a bit slow, but this way you kind of get that feathered edge like this. So then you just go around and fix all the dark spots. There we go. Like that. And I'm going to also fix this top part. I'm not going to completely do every single flower, because as I said, it's going to be quite time consuming, and it's normal for it to be time consuming. Photos like this take many hours to retouch, so I suggest that you take your time on this and just be patient and work it and make it good. this is as you may see, I'm doing a really rough masks over here just to show the different methods. So this is one method which you can use to do this kind of thing. Other one is you could go and paint basically the flower from the inside out to kind of fill in the black. This is still going to remain the hard edge throughout the flower, but this is going to get rid of the kind of the black edge, which is good. We don't want the black edges. It would be easy and unnoticeable if the background was black, but as we have a really light colored background in our final image, we kind of have to fix all of the leaves. So right now, if we delete or deselect the color fill and wait for it to update the smart object inside of our master file, I'm going to show you that it's going to be a huge difference. So, yes, so right now this is much better. If we go back to our merged file and compare, it's a huge deal. So please go around everywhere where you can see like dark edges and spend time on those, because it's going to be a huge difference. Okay, so that's it. We're done with our photo. Everything is, I'm going to kind of critique myself. Everything is visible, as in when it comes to labels. This was a good topic from last workshop that many people ignored. Not really ignored, but you should work on the visibility of all the text and label legibility to kind of have the client's approval afterwards. And also we have some shadows beneath the flowers so they kind of feel part of the image. We have ambient occlusion in places where we need it. We did background replacement and fixed the black. So thank you for joining up on this workshop. I really enjoyed doing this image, and here you can see the final result. I'm quite happy with it, and I hope you all learned something from all this. There was quite many things I had to explain, so I'm sorry if I missed something. Please, if you would like me to do something differently, message me and give feedback so I know what to do differently next time. I hope to see your completed images and manipulations next time on the review. And yes, that's it. Thank you for joining up, and see you next time.